Hello friend, in this video I will be talking about Python list. Over here I will be showing you 4 operations. I'm sure if you go through this operation very minutely, the concept of list will be clear. So as you can see over here, I declared the list and I gave the name of the list as library, and here I gave a book ID intentionally as 100. Okay, so that means every book of which I will add in the library will keep on incrementing. So the first book would be 100, the second book would be 101, then the next one will be 102, and this way it will keep on incrementing. Over here I have written a function which will check whether there is any book in the library or not. If there is no book present, then it will return 0, and if it is there, then what is the length of that list, it will return. And this is very important to find out when we are going to display all the list of the books when I'm performing such operation. So every word the size will play a very important role. Now here I've written an infinite while loop, so let me run the program, and as I do that, you get to see over here this following options are right over here, and as I select the first one, I hit the enter. So, okay, by mistake this case scheme. Okay, just a second, so let me clear the screen and let me run the code once again, and yes, and let me press 1. So as you can see over here, I've given the ID I mean the choice as 1. So let me come to this portion, let me close this thing, and choice is 1. So what it's doing, it is just printing the book ID which is 100 into a string type, and then it is displaying right over here. So the book ID is 100. It is asking for the book name to be entered, so let me give me a book name called Let Us See. I hit the enter, and it's asking to enter the cost, and I'm going for $3.99. Remember, when you're taking input in the form of input function, you need to typecast it to integer type, and you need to store in the variable. In case of string, you don't need this kind of typecasting, and I will hit the enter. But before that, let's see this line. This is a very important line. Here I'm creating another important data structure of Python is called list. I mean, list is there, right? And in this segment, I'm creating something called tuple. So this is where the indexing comes in picture. What do I mean by that? This particular attribute, book ID, whose value is 100. So this is the 0th index of the tuple. This is going to be one index of the tuple, this is going to be the second index of the tuple. That means the tuple also has got indexing, and you will see that why I'm referring to this will be very clear. So I created this tuple and I store it inside this particular reference, and that's what I'm adding in the library, in the list I'm adding it. So dot append function will add the record at the end of the list. Okay, that's what it does. So that means at the 0th index, because it starts from 0th index, at the 0th index of the list, the first tuple got stored, right? Interesting. And then the book ID will be incremented from 100 will become 101. So let me hit the enter, and again the menu will come back, but inside book ID 1 has already been done. So menu comes over here once again, and the menu has been shown. So suppose I'm going for again another insertion, and now see book ID 101 has been shown, because the last time it incremented from 100 to 101. And enter the book name. This time it is suppose Java programming. That is the book name I would love to go for, and I hit the enter. It's asking me the price, suppose 680 is the price, and I hit the enter. So the menu is back again. So in this way, this is also another tuple, you can say. So this is attribute 0 of the tuple, this is attribute 1 of the tuple, this is attribute 2 of the tuple, and that's together is one tuple, and that already got stored inside my list. So that's how the insert function is working. So that means at the 0th index of the list, I have got one tuple. At the 1 index of the list, I have got another tuple. So every index of the list, you will have one tuple, and each tuple has got 3 attributes. That is 0 index, it has got ID, 1 index, it has got name, 2 index, it has got cost. Sound interesting, right? So that's how the first choice went off. Now suppose I want to go for delete I will do it later on. Let me go for display now. So if I go for choice 3, here it is. At first it is checking, this function is checking whether there is any book at all in the library or not. If it was not so, then this message will come. But in this case, the book ID, I mean the book is there in the library. So if I give the call to this function, and this function will be stated over here, and this is a return type. Okay, this function is returning a numeric value, a number, integer. So that integer will get stored over here. So in this case, the length of the list is 2, right? Because I have got 2 books. So this would be the size of the list, and since it is not equal to 0, so this line doesn't get printed, it comes right over here. So let me just show you. So I press the letter 3, and look, this is what I was saying. So the range function would pick up one data at a time. So 0th index, start with 0th index, so I is 0. So at the list at 0 index I have got one tuple. Similarly, it goes up once again, and the size is 2 actually. So after 0, 1 comes, and at the 1 index the second tuple is there, and the upper bound is not inclusive, so it will not go up to 2, then it terminates. So that means you saw that at the 0th index of the list you have got one tuple, at the 1 index of the list you have got another tuple. So for that reason, what you can do is that here I have, let me uncomment this line and I will show you what I mean. At the 0th index of the list, at the 0th index of the list I have got one tuple, and that tuple 0th index is actually the ID of the book. At the 0th index of the list, at the 0th index I have a tuple, and that tuple 1 index I have got the name of the book. At the 0th index of my list I have got one tuple, and that tuple at the index number 2 I have got the price. So that's what the first row is of the list. It goes up once again, then I will say that at the 1 index of the list has a tuple, and that tuple 0th index I have got ID. At the 1 index of the list I have a tuple, and that tuple at the 1 index I have got the book name. At the 1 index of the list I have a tuple, and that tuple at the index number 2 I have got the price. So let me stop the program, and this time I will print the record like this way. So let me comment this one because I don't want to show this tuple again. Okay, this tuple will not get printed. So let me come out of the program and let me run the code once again. So suppose I'm going for this, the step time I'm writing A, and the price is suppose 100, and again I want to go for one more insertion, suppose B, and the price is suppose 299. And now let's go for the display. So display, see, this time you are not seeing the tuple representation which you saw previously. So this representation not there, rather you can see more in the clear format. Okay, so that means the main aspect of my program was to make you understand that a list has got indexing, and the tuple also has got indexing. You can modify a list, okay, because list is immutable, whereas the tuple you cannot modify. That aspect I didn't show you yet, but what I wanted to show you is that every index of the list you can store a tuple, and that's what the real life application would be. At the 0th index you have got a tuple, at the 1 index you have got the tuple, and that way it will be storing multiple values, right? So that's how the display function is working. I believe you understood the display function. If not, just go through it once again. And now let's come to the search option, which is also very interesting. Search, over here I made use of generator, and for that reason you will be seeing this particular kind of statement. And generator makes use of the try catch block, because in case if the item is not present, then the stop iteration would be working. So let me show you that. Let me bring you over here. Let's go for the search. So I press now it will ask me enter the book ID which I want to search. Suppose I want to go for the last one, 101. So 101 I give, and that is having a book ID BBB. As you can see, the price is 266. It is working perfectly well. So let me show you how it is working. And here it is, see, the first you start from 4. Okay, don't start from here. First you start from 4, and the library we have got the list at the 0th index. There is a tuple, so these are the value of the tuple, and from that tuple we are comparing the ID which I have entered over here. Is that matches? No, that is not, because I gave the ID as 2. I mean 101 as the ID, which is the second data in the list. So here it gives a call to the next. That means by default it is in a iteration. So from the 1 index of the list, the tuple has been picked up, and then over there it is computed that the ID of the 1 index of the list does match with the ID which I have given over here, and it does match. So when it does match, then pick up that particular tuple, and these are the attribute of the tuple. So these attribute, pass it in a variable right over here. So the name goes to this and the cost goes to this. So it is more like a destructuring that is taking place in context to the list, okay, and that's what it is getting printed. So now suppose if I wanted to go for an index that actually doesn't exist. I have got two index, 100, 101 and 100 and 101. Suppose I go for 105, which is actually not valid, and that's the reason it says 105 doesn't exist. So that means use or stop iteration, the catch block is actually working right over here, in case if the ID is not true, doesn't match. So that what I did in the search operation. I felt I know that all I'm saying in one particular video, but I will say that you pause, you watch it, and I'm very sure you will be able to understand this. So let's come to the delete part now, and the delete is far more interesting. So if I go for delete number ID, I mean enter the choice is 2, and I hit enter, it asks me to enter the ID to be deleted. So again the same thing, before you go for delete you should always ensure that there is sufficient book in the library. If not, then definitely there is no need of going for delete operation. That's the reason I gave a call to the check number of books in the function, and it will return me the size. So the size is very important because I have to run a loop now this time. Okay, so I'm asking the user to enter the ID which I want to delete. Suppose I want to go for the first one. It's up to you. It can be 100 and 101. Let's go for 101, then the loop would be more clear. So that 101 is actually getting stored over here, and remember the size is already over here. So the size is actually going to be 2 because number of books in the list is 2, right? So at the 0th index, so now I'm running a range function, and remember the upper bound is not inclusive in case of range function, so it will go from 0 and 1, but 2 would not go over here. So at the 0th index, and now let's come inside the if condition. Well, remember when you are working on a search, the item may be there, may not be there, so there has to be one flag variable that would give the acknowledgement. So initially the value of flag is 0. If the item is found to be true, I will change the value of flag, otherwise I will keep it like this. Okay, now let's come over here at the 0th index of the list. I mean at the 0th index of the list, so over here I value is 0. So now I am saying that at the 0th index of the list, what is there? There is a tuple, and the tuple's 0th index is actually the ID. Does that ID matches with the ID which I have given? The condition is not true because I have given 101 and the first is 100, so it doesn't match. So the for loop goes up once again, and the range will return me 1. This time the ID value is 1. So again it comes over here to the list. The list at the 1 index, I have a tuple, and that tuple 0th index is the index ID is here. So that ID does match with the ID which I have given. Yes, this time it does match. And if it is so, if it does match, then you come inside the if condition and you go for the pop. And what you will be popping? You will be popping the index number of the list. Remember, this is the 1 index. This is the 1 index of the list that what you will be deleting, and you will be left with one more. Okay, that's how the delete will be working. But before I go for this delete, let me try to delete something which is not there. Suppose the book ID 7 is not there. So in that case what happens? This portion is not going to work. The flag will remain 0, and it will say the book with index 107 does not exist. Let me show you that first, and that what you are saying, book with index 107 does not exist, so the flag equal to 0 because that index actually not valid. So now let's go for the actual delete, and I hit the enter and asking enter the ID. I want to delete 101, and this time it will does match. It will delete the 101, and the pop function will also show you the item that you want to delete. Yes, this is the beauty of the pop function. The pop function will show you the item that you are deleting from the list, and see 101 got deleted, and the flag is now 1. So this line will not appear and didn't appear. So that means how many elements are there in my list right now? There's only one element. Let me show you that. Even I go for the option 3 and I hit enter, and there's only one item that is there in my list because previously I just deleted the other one. Okay, so if I try to delete one more time, and this time the ID will be 101. So let me go and delete 100, and the item also got deleted. So how many items are there in the list right now? There is no item in the list. See, no book in the list. So now you cannot perform any deletion. So if you still try to delete, suppose what you will delete, you don't have any ID, so nothing is there. Your library is completely empty. So that's what I wanted to show you in this particular video of the list, which has got tuple for each index of the list, and I believe this particular program will be very effective for you to understand. Thoroughly go through this, and what my plan is, this particular program does not make use of the class approach. In fact, in my next video I do have a plan to come up with Python class, and over there you will see how oops is playing a very important role in Python. Okay, so until my next video, have a great time. Bye bye.